We're going to make the Siyum on Bava Basra. It's known that the Rebbe, by every Yutas Kislev Verbringen, would make a Siyum Masechta. Because the Alter Rebbe in the end of Tanya writes that you should make a Siyum on the entire Shas throughout the year. And the way you make a Siyum on Shas the entire year is by being Mishtatif in a Kehillah that everybody takes one Masechta. And the Rebbe very often mentioned what the Gemara says regarding the Malacha on Shabbos. That when two people do a Malacha together, Shnaim Shasu, they do a Malacha, they're Pater. But if it's a case where the two people that are doing the Malacha, Zeh Eina Yachol, Zeh Eina Yachol, that each one can't do it themselves, so then the act that each one is doing is considered to be B'Shleimus, that he's going to be Chayiv in the Malacha. So the same thing also regarding the Siyum of Shas, that when everybody together learns another Masechta, because of Tzayke Itim, because of the time of Golus, that it's hard for everyone to learn the entire Shas, so therefore you make a Siyum Masechta. That's the Minich Chassidim. The Minich Chassidim is that Yutas Kislev, there's a Chalukas HaShas. Every Kehillah, every place has a Chalukas HaShas. By the Rebbe's Verbringen, they used to give out the cards. And the Rebbe himself, by the Verbringen, would write the Masechta that he would take for that's the Minich Chassidim, to be Mishtatif in Chalukas HaShas. And the Bekesha to this, the Rebbe would always make a Siyum on one Masechta. So we're going to make the Siyum on Masechta Bava Basra. The end of Masechta Bava Basra speaks about the halachas of an orev, a guarantor for a loan. And the Mishnah here brings a machlokes between Rabbi Shmuel and Ben Nanas, whether an orev, a guarantor for a loan, takes effect if he's only becoming an orev, or he's saying that it'll be an orev after the money was borrowed already. So Rabbi Shmuel says that it'll be an orev even then. But Ben Nanas in the Mishnah says that you're only a orev if you took upon yourself to be an orev before the malva released the money for the loan. Afterwards, if you come along and say that you're going to be an orev, it's too late. It doesn't take effect. Okay, so the Gemara before here has a discussion about this, and the example that the Gemara gives for this is, what happens if the loiva and malva meet each other in the street, and the loiva didn't pay up his loan, and the malva is strangling the loiva. The lashon of the Gemara is he's chayne kaisai. He's, whether it means physically chayne kaisai, or whether it means that he's just pressuring him to pay the loan. The Rebbe brings in the Sikha here on the Hadna of the Masechta, when the Gemara uses this expression of chayne kaisai, but it doesn't necessarily mean chayne kaisai. It can mean that he's being mitzayer him. He's pressuring him to pay up the loan. And a person walks by and says, let go of him, let go, I'll pay the loan. Do his words take effect? Is there a shibud? There's the words that he say actually take effect. So the Gemara says that according to Rabbi Shmuel, just the words that he said takes effect. That's what the Gemara said before here. Okay, so now the Siyum of the Masechta, the Gemara brings Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel, Chanuk, in such a case where the loiva, the malva is strangling the loiva, he's pressuring him to pay. So then, only in a case where a person says that I'll pay the loan, but there was a kinyan that was made, then mishtabed. Only then will he become obligated to pay. In this case, because over here the svara is, as Rashbam explains, that he's only saying it because he sees this person is being put under such pain and he wants to get rid of that pain. So therefore he's saying it to stop the painful situation. But he's not serious and actually obligating himself to pay. So the Arevus is not taken seriously at all. Says the Gemara, Miklal, from this I understand, the Arev Ba'alma loy boy kinyan. That in any other case, when a person says that he's going to guarantee the payment of the loan, whether before the money was borrowed, whether after, you don't have to have an actual kinyan for that. Says the Gemara, Pliga Rav Nachman. What was said here in the name of Shmuel argues on what Rav Nachman said. Amar Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said, Orev the Bezdin Huduloi boy kinyan. Only in a case of an Orev where the Bezdin is involved. You're in the presence of a Bezdin. In such a case, when Bezdin is trying to get payment for this loan, and a third person comes in and says, I'll take care of it, I guarantee the payment of the loan. In the presence of a Bezdin, then I say that just his word alone is enough to obligate him to pay. You don't need any other kinyan. And the reason for this is because in the presence of a Bezdin, when a person sees that his word is being accepted and taken seriously, he has a very big hana from this. One of the svaras the Gemara says before about how a person becomes obligated to pay a loan by being an orev without making any kinyan. How does he become obligated to pay if he didn't make an actual kinyan to actually bind himself into this obligation? So the svara is because he has hana from the fact that people are trusting him. So it's one thing that you have hana from the fact that a malva trusts you, some individual trusts you. In the presence of Bezdin, it's much more. The Bezdin is trusting you. So that's a much bigger hana. So in such a case, your word will take effect without even a kinyan. Says the Gemara, but anything else outside of the Bezdin, boy kinyan. You have to have the word itself that the person gives that he's going to guarantee the loan, it won't take effect. You have to have a kinyan. Now the Gemara concludes, there's various opinions that the Gemara brought before about this, but here the Gemara concludes, v'hilchaseh. The halacha regarding an orev is as follows. Orev b'shas matan mois, if an orev is coming to guarantee the loan at the time when the malva is lending the money, so in other words, before the money is lent, he says that I'm going to guarantee this loan, then loy boy kinyan. Then it's not necessary to make a kinyan for this loan. Achamat mois, boy kinyan. But after you gave the money, after the money was already lent, and now you're coming and saying, I'll guarantee the payment of the loan, in such a case, you're going to need a kinyan for this to take effect. Or if the Bezdin, but if you're accepting to pay the loan, to guarantee the payment of the loan inside of a Bezdin, then loy boy kinyan. In such a case, you don't need a kinyan because in the presence of a Bezdin, the bahanhiya, no, the mehemele, the fact that he's being trusted in a Bezdin, he's not just being trusted by some individual, but Bezdin is trusting him, that's a big ano. And that's enough that causes that Gomar or Mishabedle, that he's Mishabed himself to the payment of this loan. The last Rashbam here adds, out of the Bezdin, loy boy kinyan, v'loy gasin and hanach kula boy kinyan. Others had a different gear, so you're not great as this. Adran Allah, get posher, the slikala, Masechta Bava Basra. Okay, so there's a hadran from the Rebbe on the Masechta. A long hadran that the Rebbe actually said, it wasn't on a Yutas Kislev, the Rebbe said this hadran in connection to Yud Shvat, which was another time of the year that the Rebbe always would make a hadran on a Masechta. And the Rebbe, regarding this concept of an orev, there's a lot of different things that the Rebbe said, but there's one thing that the Rebbe spoke about, which could be connected to Yutas Kislev, that the Rebbe says about this concept of being a guarantor for a loan. The concept of an orev is benegeh to money. As you see here, that's what Bava Basra is about. This is the end of the three Masechtas, Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, and Bava Basra. That's to say the Nezikin, or according to others, it's actually one Masechta. Kulu Nezikin Chada Masechta. It's one Masechta which speaks about all money matters, all money disputes, all issues of sales and loans and damages in these three Masechtas. And here, the inyan of an Orev is all in this area of money. But there's another din of an Orev. There's a din of an Orev that's brought in Masechta Brachas, or Masechta Rosh Hashanah, or it's mentioned in Masechta Sait also. The Gemara speaks about an Orev regarding mitzvahs. That by Matan Torah, every Yid became a guarantor that another Yid should fulfill a mitzvah. The halacha is, if you made Kiddush already, could you be mitzi someone else with Kiddush? The Gemara says, in Shulchan Aruch it says, that if you're a bar chiyuve, if you're obligated in a mitzvah, then you can be mitzi someone else with a mitzvah. What's if you're not chayiv in a mitzvah? You can't be mitzi someone else. So, for example, a woman that's not obligated in a mitzvah can't be mitzi you in a mitzvah. If she's not obligated, she can't be mitzi you. But what's if you already fulfilled a mitzvah? So you're not obligated anymore. How could you make kiddush for someone else if you already made kiddush and you were yaitze? So the Gemara says that because another yid didn't make kiddush, that's your obligation. So you're an orev, so you are still chayiv. Your obligation of the mitzvah includes also the fact that another yid should do the mitzvah. That's the din of arvos regarding mitzvahs. So now, bepashtus, these two concepts of arevos regarding a loan, to pay up a loan, and arevos to guarantee the fulfillment of a mitzvah of another yid, have absolutely nothing to do with each other. It's two completely different things. One is the arvos from Matan Torah, one is the arvos for a mitzvah, and the other is a arvos that a person chooses to help another yid with the payment of a loan. What do they have to do with each other? The Rebbe comes and says that these two concepts of arevos are connected. These two concepts of arevos are interrelated with each other. And the raya that the Rebbe brings is the source, one of the sources that the Gemara brings before here in Bava Basra, just a few blocks before, where the Gemara brings the source for Arevos. So the Gemara here brings one of the opinions, what's the source of an Arev? So the Gemara says we learn it out from the Arevos that Yehuda took responsibility to guarantee that Binyamin will come back home. So the question is, how are we learning out Arevos for a money matter from the story with Yehuda and Binyamin, where over there it had nothing to do with money at all? He was guaranteeing the well-being of his brother to bring him back home. It's not an union of Arevos of money at all. What's the connection? How's the Gemara learning it out from there? Elamai, the Rebbe says, it must be that even the Arevos for money, when one Yid guarantees another Yid to pay money for his loan, the source of the koyach of Arevos comes from the fact that Kol Yisrael Arevim Zel Zeh by mitzvahs, that all Yidden are really united, and all Yidden, the other taich, the famous taich that it says, and Kol Yisrael Arevim doesn't just mean a guarantor, but Arevim also means that they're mixed, they're really blended and joined together as one entity. And the other taich of Arevim is that one Yid is zis to another Yid, the sweetness that one Yid has when he sees another Yid. The Arevos of mitzvahs and the Arevos of Matan Torah is the source of the fact that not only are you an order for someone else for a mitzvah, but when you see another Yid in a time of need, and there's money that he needs, or money that he has to borrow, or in the case that the Gemara speaks about, a person that's chanuk, a person that he's being strangled, he's being pressured to pay up a loan, so why are you coming along and guaranteeing to pay this loan? The concern and the connection and the oneness of one Yid with another Yid is not just beruchnius, begashmius. To think about the well-being of another Yid. These two things go together. The Arevos beruchnius and the Arevos begashmius between one Yid and another Yid come together. That's the basis of the Arevos between Yidden. This concept in Mefarshim, I was looking to see if anybody puts these two things together, the Arevos of mitzvahs or the Arevos of money, whether these two things are related. This is the Rebbe's concept, that the Arevos beruchnius, the Arevos of mitzvahs, and the Arevos begashmius, of the well-being of another Yid, go together. As the famous word that said about ruchnius and gashmius, that another Yid's gashmius is your ruchnius. So if you're being an Arev on the loan of another Yid, if you're helping out another Yid begashmius, when he's being pressured, when he's chanuk, when he has any kind of tsar, and you're helping another Yid, the source of that Arevos is the Arevos of Matan Torah, the Arevos of Torah mitzvahs that brings all Yidden together. That's one word that the Rebbe says on the Siyum of the Masechta. There's more details to it, but that's a very powerful nekuda to what the pnimius of Dinei Mominis is all about. It's not just about money. It's money, but it's not just the money. The money, if it's Yiddish Geld, the Gemara says, if it's a money of a Yid and you're helping a Yid begashmius, it's the Arevos of Torah. It's the same thing. It goes together. Adron Allah Masechta Bava Basra Vada Chalan Daitan Allah Masechta Bava Basra Daita Chalan. When it's Nashim Allah Masechta Bava Basra, when it's Nashim Allah Bamadim Bamados Hadam Masechta. Dein bleibt mit Asi. Das von nach hat mir dann letztes Jahr gesagt, hey, der Basra Hussein weil man sagt,
I'll go come out.
Aber mal bei Papa, Raffen bei Papa, Rachs bei Papa, Sorge bei Papa. Aber bei Papa, aber mal. Amen, Salvat, Ona mashkimim v'hei mashkimim. Ona mashkimim l'divrei Torah. Hei mashkimim l'dvarim b'teilim. Ona amelim v'hei amelim. Ona amelim v'kav m'schar. V'hei amelim v'kav m'schar. Ona rotzim v'hei rotzim. Ona rotzim v'chayelim haba. V'hei rotzim l'bei shachas. Shenema ata lim teridim l'bei shachas. Nam shidam l'mim l'yachzim em nefach pach. Ratmu v'nachad noy lahai. Shem shesatan l'sam sechel b'alvas. Kind asem l'haskol v'sachas yisvarim acherim. Sein l'luma l'lam l'ishma v'lasa l'skan p'liv l'sam l'sach schus kol atanoyim v'amiroyim v'tmid chachomim. Ja, mit Liebe Zarisch, Latom Shater mit Pi Zari, Bezer Zari, Adela, Moskaim, Vibs, Alachacha, Tancha, Ischach, Shach B'cha, Tishmer Alecha, Vakitzai Yisas Yichecha, Ki B'Mem Zucha, Shnes Chaim, Varech Aminim, Varech Hasami Vasholim. Anyone wants to say Kaddish?